knowledge makes you great.
It's been 25 years of passionate chasing. Hello everyone, this is Anand Krishnan here. We are now coming to you with the 6th episode of Hamara Tejas. Along with me is Dr. Kota Harinarayana, and we are at one of the most fascinating divisions of Hindustan Aeronautics Limited Aircraft Research and Design Center. Lot of youngsters, lot of exciting programs, all that will get to you soon. I told you in the last episode that we are changing the flight path of this Hamara Tejas program. Dr. Kota wants more heroes to be shown in the program, so I will exit. And here you will see some of the superheroes of HAL, some of the stalwarts of ARDC who have toiled hard for decades for the Tejas program. Dr. Kota, welcome to Hamara Tejas.
Good.
While we thank our followers and people across the globe, Indians, supporting this program, I want to just ask you, when you stand here, knowing that the amount of hard work you people have put to build this test rig for Tejas, knowing that the great Guru Kalam also has visited this place. Historically, for India's military program, this building, this test rig is very, very phenomenal in the history of military aviation. What are your thoughts before I exit?
It's a very, very crucial test facility. Crucial for the success of the program, for the safety of the thing, and to ensure that we get the highest reliability that is. In fact, the rig itself, development, it is itself a saga.
All right.
It took 5 years of hard work, day and night work. Only then we were able to establish facility, test the facility, validate the facility. Then only the military airworthiness people allowed us to use the facility for testing the aircraft system. So it's a very, very vital link between our desire to fly to actual flying occurring. Okay?
Our desire to fly. So that is a story that will come. I am exiting, and here we will have two superheroes. General Manager of ARDC, Krishna Kumar sir, and his man Friday, Sanjay Sharma, who is a DGM here. Dr. Kota is now going to play the role of a journalist and engage them in a conversation. Remember, the test rig behind is in the shape of Tejas. All that we will show it to you. Enjoy Hamara Tejas.
We are at a facility of light combat aircraft, maybe one of the most complex test facilities. We call it as Iron Bird. It is a facility, its development itself is a saga, and took us quite a lot of time to design it, to build it, to validate it, and to bring it to a level where it is certified for using, for now testing the one of the most complex system, the fly-by-wire flight control system of the light combat aircraft. And this is an important element. It continues to be an important test rig for every aircraft that is coming out of the HL. Okay, it is located in Aeronautical Research and Design Center. And with me, I have two of my colleagues, very dear colleagues. Krishna Kumar, he is now the general manager. Okay, and we have Sanjay Sharma, he is the deputy general manager who is in charge of this facility. So I would like to ask my friend, I still consider him as a young friend, Krishna Kumar, KK, I normally call him KK. I think most of the people call him KK. Okay. KK, you have joined the LCA program, I think from very beginning itself. Huh?
Yes, sir.
Would you like to tell 1 or 2 minutes about what it meant to join the program?
Sir, when we joined, we were freshers from the college and we had nothing, no experience. We had only a few experienced people like you with us, and then we learnt the other aircraft systems, and on that we developed a system. We took the good aspects of all the systems and tried to do, and we had enormous amount of guidance in setting up rigs like this particular Iron Bird. The Iron Bird, because it is grouted onto the ground, it is an iron structure, it's a bird, it's supposed to be a flying bird. We do fly it from the cockpit, but it doesn't lift off in the air. This is an exact replica of the aircraft. If you see the aircraft frame, the LCA aircraft frame is fully here in that delta wings and the nose here, and all the equipments are positioned exactly as it is in the aircraft, and the hydraulic system is a 100% replica of the aircraft. Electrical system, yes, we can simulate either the aircraft or we can ground from ground, and we have all the actuators which will be explained. Actual actuators, right here in front of me is the slat actuator, and we have the main elevon actuators. We have the undercarriages here. We operated the undercarriage logics first here before we operated on the aircraft, and before the first flight, we were to do 50 hours of fault-free operation for our certification agencies. Sir, if you recall, 49th hour, we had a problem. We had a problem and we resolved it. We came back, we did another 50 hours, and totally we did 99 hours to get the clearance for the first flight.
I'm glad you remembered that, because it was an extraordinary experience. And that experience and the thoroughness with which we work, thoroughness, never cut corners, thoroughness, I think that is what made this aircraft really a safe and reliable aircraft.
Nobody thought we could do a fly-by-wire flight control system with an unstable aircraft so well, and we never had a flaw with that.
I think, as KK said, here is a test facility, test rig, which has proved itself and proved the aircraft. It is both ways.
Yes.
And sometimes I find, maybe Sanjay Sharma will talk about it, and making the test rig itself is as complex a job as making the aircraft flight control system. Okay? Quite often I find the people who design the test facilities, they I would like to call them as unsung heroes. Because everybody hears about fly-by-wire system, flight control system, unstable aircraft and all, which are certainly the core technologies, but to make them fly, to make them reliable and all, you need a test facility which is much more reliable than the flight control system itself. Sanjay, would you like to say something about your test facility? And are we going to, how are we upgrading the test facility as the aircraft is also progressing?
Sir, actually, this facility, when we say it has to be operational 24 hours, we can say. Now, we can even say that suppose we have to have a test. Now, as per the testing requirement, the rig has to be operational, we can say 8 hours a day, 24 hours a day, 365 days in a year. That operational part of this is very, very important. And if this rig is up, I mean, flights are there. Otherwise, each and every system from here goes to the aircraft. So you would like to?
And one more thing is such rigs are very important because we cannot inject failures in the aircraft. Whereas here we inject failures, see what happens because of that failure, whether whatever we have analyzed, whatever we have designed is working as it should be, the standbys, the redundancy, are they taking over or are they cascading effects? These are things validated here, and in fact the pilot sits in the cockpit and flies for a fault-free system, and there also we inject failures so that he is akin to what is going to happen in case of a failure. That sort of meticulous testing goes in before we release an aircraft for flight.
So meticulous planning, meticulous test schedule, and meticulously working out what could go wrong,
Yes.
and how it will go wrong, and how to simulate that here. That is done in this place.
The best part is how do you prove that this DFCC or the aircraft is quadruplex? I mean, quadruplex means you have 4. Now, reliability part of it, here actually you can say, you can make it triplex also. You make it triplex, fly and see how it
I think
behaves.
very important part, Sanjay, you have said. Here we simulate a condition whereby, let us say 4 computers, either one computer fails, what will happen? Second computer fails. We can afford to even make a third computer fly only here. It is not possible in an aircraft. Similarly, if the landing gear there are problems, if there is a problem in the actuators, there is a problem in any electrical system, all of them are simulated and tested and seen that with the failure of such systems, we are still, aircraft is safe and aircraft can fly and the pilot can fly safely and can land there. Okay? You may even tell about, here we also simulate the electrical system.
Yes,
Okay?
we simulate the electrical system. We have electrical changeovers which happen in the aircraft in case of one failure. Those possible delays, it may not be that the design limits of the delays are simulated so that you can assess what happens if the max delay comes in the changeover. Similarly, for hydraulic system also, we can simulate a hydraulic system failure, one system failure, total hydraulic failure, the electric motor driven pump, which is the last resort for the pilot, coming on, and how much he can fly with that. All that can be simulated here. That is the meticulousness which we go into the testing.
The important point I think all of us should know is it's not only the flight control system as such which is quadruplex, even the support system like hydraulics, they themselves are quadruplex. Plus the electrical itself is quadruplex.
We have 4 sources for each channel has got a different source so that one source failure does not affect the other.
It's important. Dissimilar kind of what you call power supply, electrical power supplies are what is provided here. In fact, all these years of testing, all these hours of testing, I would like to say that the electrical systems reliability levels are extremely high. The hydraulic system proved themselves very well, and because these are the utility systems will support the flight control system, and the interface between the pilot and the systems and the flight control, that is what has given the kind of reliability that we are looking for. In fact, those systems sometimes have to be 2 orders of magnitude higher reliability than the basic aircraft itself. If we want an aircraft to be 1 in a million hours of flying, one failure we accept, the electrical system has been designed such that at least 2 to 3 orders of magnitudes higher reliability. Hydraulic is also higher reliability, and that is how you make the whole aircraft highly reliable. And that whole thing is tested here. And while we initially do what you call a more like a analytical kind of analysis, but practically testing, proving Am I right, KK?
yes, sir.
That is what we do here.
In fact, when we joined, especially when I joined as a youngster, I believe that I did a beautiful system, but nobody asked me how it will behave when everything is okay. Everybody used to ask, what will happen if this fails? What will happen if this fails? So that was the thought process in the reviews, and we used to really debate. We did the analysis, and we proved that analysis here, that everything works as per whatever we have designed and analyzed.
So complete validation of the design is what we are able to do that.
You imagine that, see, the people feel that when you give a controls from the stick and the aircraft flies, that's what people know. But how that signal can go inside, then in a fly-by-wire aircraft, how it goes inside the computer, in the computer software which path it follows, everything can be checked here. So we can say track the command from this to the actuator and see that yes, what is expected is what is delivered.
And one more thing, sir, our LCA is one aircraft which is got brake by wire and nose steering by wire. Those things are also checked here.
I'm very happy you are told that.
Those things are also checked here initially, how the system works, because the brake management system is put here. Similarly, the nose wheel steering system is put here, and how the pilot from the cockpit controls the nose wheel steering and the brakes are also tested here.
See, there are two basic places where the pilot familiarizes with the aircraft. One is in a high fidelity simulator. Second is in the Iron Bird. Both things he will fly. Then once he is confident that, and he understands the complete aircraft, the way it is flying, way it will fly in a normal way, way it will fly when there is a failure. It is in an aircraft design, an aircraft, very important, as KK has just now told, it is important to know not how it flies in a normal situation, how it continues to fly with high fidelity and good handling qualities even with failures. Okay, so this failure management is a very, very important thing, and I thought that is what we need to ensure that it continues to be so. I just want to tell me, we have done this one. We also now developed an aircraft for Navy. Okay, that aircraft is also flying. It's a very, very complex fellow, more complex than even because more actuators, both things. And we are now talking about next level of aircraft coming up. Then we are now talking about Mark II also coming up. Are you now upgrading this facility as we go by, or what are the things you are doing?
This facility was initially meant only for a single cockpit fighter aircraft. From there we made it into a twin cockpit, and then we added Navy specific things here, like the main landing gears, which are the new ones for the Navy. All the three landing gears can be attached. You can configure this either for the Navy or for the Air Force, or for the single seater or for dual seater. So that is how we have modified this rig.
So the rig is quite versatile.
Yes.
Rig is versatile. It continues to support the aircraft development and also production program. If there is any issue, we come back to the rig and we try to test that and all. And now we are going for the, say, Mark II and all. So are you planning a new rig and all that kind of?
Mark II will have a separate rig, sir, because the sizes itself will change, everything will change. It's a bigger aircraft, so it will change. Whereas the Mark 1A will have this same rig, because physically the aircraft is same, only systems are changing. So we will adapt it for the Mark 1A also.
Good. So I think we have come to the place where the heart of the aircraft is tested and validated.
And one more thing, like everybody is very much worried of first flight, and for us, each software, when we test it here and it goes to the aircraft, it is a first flight for us. So it's not the airframe.
Series of first flight.
It's not the airframe which is flying and people are. Good. What we are delivering to the aircraft, and pilot is flying for the first time actually.
Good dear. Very happy that we are keeping it going, updating, and keeping it kicking. Okay, very, very vital. Acha, okay, Sanjay, you are responsible for this. You have to give an understanding of this, what it is, how it works, and all that, so that our younger generation will understand the whole thing and appreciate the way aircraft is developed. Okay, go ahead.
See, this is the Ironbird test facility. If you see, this is the nose part of it, no? See, the aircraft looks like this. This is the front end, and then it goes towards that. So this is the wing side of it. So when we say Ironbird test facility and we say that it is basically one-to-one of the aircraft, then all these portions, whatever is there, that has to exist, and this rig has to be one-to-one to that of aircraft. So we'll see that if you go around, and from front side if you see, you'll get a clear picture of whether this rig is a rig or it's an aircraft. So you can see that the entire portion, we can assume that we have removed the structure of the aircraft. So when we remove the structure of the aircraft, how it will look like? It will look like something like this. Only here you can see that all the parts, whatever they're inside the rig, inside the aircraft, are all visible. So this is the first portion, the first triangle, what we'll say delta of the aircraft. Okay. Now, since our GM sir also told that we have actually modified this rig not only for Air Force but for the Navy also. So this basically is the Levcon, which is the leading edge vortex controller, and it's used only for the Navy aircraft. Fine. Now moving forward, if you go that side, we'll see the other part. So this is the right wing. Now right wing, we have got all these actuators. So 3 sets of slats this side and 3 sets of slats other side. So we have seen that this actually is the right wing of the aircraft. Now these are the actuators or the slat surfaces which are put on the right surface of the aircraft, and similarly it will be on the left side of the aircraft also. So the rig, since it is one-to-one of that of aircraft, this position of these actuators and all is exactly same. We have to maintain not only the dimensional accuracy but also the electrical as well as the hydraulics accuracy of the aircraft. This is the back end of the aircraft. That means this is the back side and that is the tail portion of it. You can see this additional structure here basically. This is for the LCA Navy aircraft, wherein we know that the undercarriage of the LCA Navy is quite bulkier. It's quite bulkier than what is that of the Air Force. If you see the Air Force is that side, which is comparatively smaller than that of the Navy. So there was a need to actually commission and install a Navy undercarriage in this facility so that the complete evaluation of the software of LCA Navy can take place. So back side of this, now these are the other actuators. So primarily the flight, these are called primary actuators because these basically contribute to the actual primary controls of the aircraft. This Navy landing gear, as you can see, is basically quite bulkier, quite complex than that of the Air Force undercarriage. No, the mechanism also is quite different, and we can see actually we had lot of issues when we did the installation of this undercarriage at Ironbird, and primarily it was the requirement of the pilots because seeing the bulkiness of this, there was a need to actually install it on any rig before evaluating it for or before taking off to the aircraft. So here we have done this additional modular structure. This is in addition to what we have for the Air Force. Okay. Now I'll just tell you about one more structure, which is the arrestor hook system. This arrestor hook system is basically, this is again for LCA Navy. Now you know that the LCA Navy is designed for deck landing. Now in the deck, how the aircraft is going to stop within a very short span of distance. So this hook basically here, it will catch hold of the ropes and make the aircraft stop within a very short distance. So this also, now we call it as hook basically. It's not a hook. It has got more than, I can say, 300 odd parts. And for this installation of this itself was a big challenge. And this is our own ARDC, our own design. Now that we have seen the arrestor hook system, this is, this anyway, it's the Navy landing gear. This is the other main landing gear of it. So we are coming back to the left side of the aircraft. So these are the other two Alivan actuators. Again, there are two pairs, one on the left side, one on the right side. So which will give the motion primary motion of say pitch and roll. And again, when we come back here, this is the other side. So these are those 3 slats actuators as we have seen on the other side of the rig. Okay. So if you see totally, we can say that the entire aircraft systems for the flight controls, whatever is required, everything is put on here. Now there is nothing artificial here. Everything is real. All the LRUs, which we call the equipment and all are flight worthy. So that makes the rig one-to-one to that of aircraft. That means if the pilot is flying this rig, the pilot is testing the software on this rig, and then when he goes to the aircraft for flight, he will actually not find any difference between flying here and flying there. Of course, there are other challenges when the pilot is flying on the aircraft, but as far as the flight control system is concerned, the performance on Iron Bird rig and the performance on the aircraft will be exactly same.
So, we are at the LCA cockpit, the trainer cockpit, right? Which is an integral part of the Iron Bird at ARDC, and perhaps a very rare sight of the father of Tejas program sitting inside the Tejas cockpit. I want to just ask you, sir. I've asked this before during the first interview of Tarmak Talking a couple of years back. Why did you not get a sortie on Tejas? A question a lot of people have asked. I keep on asking, why did you not fly?
See, a fighter aircraft, it's not a normal practice for the design team to fly and all. We normally do the whole thing on the simulator, and the pilot does it on the simulator and all. And that's what, even the simulator building itself is a great technology itself. And we have been involved in that. And today what you are seeing now, it is a high fidelity cockpit which represents the cockpit of the fighter aircraft. It has 2. One is the single seater and it has 2 seats. So you can use it as a single seat fighter or a twin seat trainer aircraft. But LCA trainer is also a fighter. It has all the fighting capabilities of a fighter aircraft except slightly heavier weight because one more pilot is sitting there and all. Otherwise, it can do all the what you call weapon carriage, weapon delivery, and everything else is totally represented here. So, in fact, first the engineers fly this one all, test and prove that. Then the pilot comes here and he also flies the Iron Bird sitting there in the cockpit. Okay, so a very integral part of the Iron Bird, and so it has to simulate exactly the way it is there. The flying dynamics are also fairly represented,
yeah, okay.
fairly well simulated. We put a 6 degree of freedom model whereby we can do that, but not as high a fidelity as in a actual simulator, but otherwise it represents the whole thing. You have been following the LCA right from the days when aircraft was getting ready, and subsequently a large number of LCA aircrafts were flying, but you never flew also. Why is it so?
Yeah, that was a straight hit. So I keep telling everyone, Tejas flies in my heart.
Good.
Yeah. All right, sir. So let's now request Dr. Kota Harinarayana to, take off on Tejas. Krishna Kumar sir, who is the GM of ARDC, has told so many stories about this place, and this itself has got a lot of history. And here we go, Dr. Kota taking off on Tejas, his pet bird. And he's airborne, so the takeoff speed is around
Around 140 knots, okay, 130, 140 knots. Normally a little higher speed so that you have no issue.
So from here now, from ARDC, we are going to go to another facility of ARDC, the drop test facility. Very, very significant for this program, and one of the only kind of facility in the whole India. Again, an amazing Atmanirbhar Bharat story, much before all these slogans and campaigns came. How a bunch of dedicated people from HAL, ADA, DRDO, many others, went in search of making that massive facility. I understand BHEL also played a big role in setting up that. Let's go there. We are at the ARDC's brake dynamometer facility, one of its kind. Dr. Kota, at another place with plane loads of emotions, plane loads of memories. And KK sir was telling, the stories behind it. I understand you're also lining up two officials from HAL who will further take forward for the benefit of youngsters. So when you stand here behind this amazing facility of HAL, what are your thoughts and what is this for a 8th standard student when he or she watches this?
See, irrespective whether you have an aircraft or a car or anything, brakes are very important. They are safety critical. The brake doesn't work, you are in trouble. So also in an aircraft. And the brake system, okay, brake management system, brakes and all were, we decided for the LCA project, we will develop everything indigenously. And the best brake system is based on carbon technology, very rare technology. And but one is to develop the carbon sector. Second is you should be able to test not once or twice, because development means repeated testing to be done. And when we go out, Dunlop and others have facilities. One is you have to wait in the queue. Second is extremely expensive. I'm talking about 2-3 decades back, they were charging something like, they were talking about 1 crore, 2 crore for testing. So we were wondering that we need to develop a facility as a part of LCA program, so that we can develop the whole technology of carbon brakes. Once we were in BHEL Ramachandrapuram, myself, my colleague MB Verma, and we found a huge forging line there. We asked them what, they said no, it is meant for a power generation, but there is some problem, so we are not using it, is kept there. Then it flashed in our mind, if these forgings we can utilize, we can make a brake dynamometer. So what we thought was, one is to develop the brake sectors, very critical elements. We talked to very capable lady, Rohini, who was heading the carbon technology project at DRDO.
So the missile.
For the Agni missile. So it's a banned technology, but they have developed it. We talked to them telling, can you now take this forward and make the carbon brake sectors for LCA?
Okay.
Now, it would, when you are developing, repeated amount of testing will be required. So we knew that there is the need for a brake dynamometer. I'm happy to tell you, the brake dynamometer, that what you call forgings we got, I think my friends now tell me, just about 60 lakhs or so, the whole thing was built. BHEL forgings we brought, we integrated. We also brought the control system and all that. And today that brake dynamometer is doing a lot more. We will ask our friends, well, what is the kind of plane? But this brake dynamometer, at a fraction of a car, whole thing we built, whereas using the brake dynamometer in a country like UK would have costed 3 times more. I have a feeling our friends must have earned 10 to 100 times more than what money we have spent. What I want to mention too is, a project like Light Combat Aircraft Tejas, it not only made an aircraft, but it created top-class test facilities. And these are the test facilities which are now being used subsequently for many programs.
It not only made an aircraft, it also made top-class test facilities. It also churned out top-class leaders. And that is a story, the BHEL part, the Agni missile role, and all these, I would say, passionate, mad people of India's aerospace and defense. And remember what Dr. Kota said, brakes are very important in an aircraft. To all the young fellows, let me tell you, brakes are also very important in our life. Jada speed mein mat jana hai, brake dal ke jana hai. So Kota is now going to get 2 superstars from ARDC who will further tell about this system. I will eject.
I'm happy both of you. and we have been running this facility for quite some time. We initially established the facility for LCA program, but I think you have been running this for more than 20 years, am I right? Yes. And I want to know, what is the kind of application of this facility you have done? Of course for LCA and variant, but beyond that.
So basically this dynamometer was started for the LCA program, but whereas like I should also thank to my guru, Mr. Sudarshan sir. Actually, he was behind this facility. At that time, what he has envisaged is just not only doing for LCA. He thought, okay, let us scatter this for a different aircraft. What he has done, he has made a survey of all the some of the aircrafts available in Indian Air Force. Accordingly, we have arrived at some configuration wherein this dynamometer can be used for LCA as well as for some other offset programs also. Same facility, we started using it from right from the basic trainer to the highest aircraft like Su-30, namely like Kiran Mark 1, Kiran Mark 2, IJT, STT-40, then transport aircraft like Saras, and then all MiG series, namely MiG-21, MiG-29K, MiG-27, all these aircrafts has been done on this facility.
So that means with 60 lakhs that you have spent, you have now recovered some 60 crores.
More than that. Sir. More than
that. Good. I'm happy to see
yes,
how well you are utilizing this facility. Thank you very much. Good, KK. I'm very happy we are here together at this facility. During this last something like 2.5 decades, you have been here. Can you remember any one or two things which still stays with you? Can you tell me?
Sir, one of the most interesting thing, I do not know if you will recall, while we were doing a ground run on the TD1 before its first flight, late in the evening, suddenly I found an entourage coming. I was in direct view contact with Vinko Nambiar, who was doing the ground run. So while the 20-30 people walking around, then I was wondering what is happening. Then suddenly Nambi sir shows me like this, and then I see Mr. George Fernandez walking down with around 30 people, and he comes and stands next to me. I gave him my ear defender. He wore that. He stood that. He said, "You continue." And he waited till the engine was shut down, and then he gave a thumbs up to Dambi sir, and he walked off with his entourage. I believe he was landing in Bangalore in a civil aircraft. He has seen the LCA doing ground run, and he came around and to watch what is happening. That was the sort of inspiration we had from people, leaders like the defense minister of the country coming and standing with us while we were doing a ground run.
Also shows how passionate he was for things indigenous, and his support was extraordinary. Extraordinary. I am happy you remember that. I also remember. It is a very important thing that happened. And I think that is the kind of leadership which really helped us to move forward and succeed. So thank you. I am so happy you remember this.
Most welcome. There are so many such good incidents we have.
Good. Very happy. Thank you.
Namaste, sir. I am Balaji Reddy from Bangalore. I once again thank you for this opportunity to being in this facility, and I feel very proud standing here with you in this facility.
Good, Balaji. I am very happy to know you have a deep interest in the Tejas program, and you are keeping track of what is happening. I understand you have a question to ask.
Yes, sir. My question for you is, with this present generation aircrafts and this testing facility and the future programs coming up with new aircrafts, would you be also upgrading the testing facility, and what are the challenges?
I thought it's a very important question we ask, because when you make a new aircraft, not only the aircraft systems and all will be upgraded, all the test facilities also have to be relooked at, and whatever is common can stay there, but quite a bit of things will be new things. So all the key tests like Iron Bird and all that, they will be upgraded, and they will, in fact, I think the next aircraft program, they are going to make a new Iron Bird, because its configuration is different and all, and that will be, and that itself will be fairly a good challenge. Okay, other facilities also we need to be like the avionics systems and all. While lot of things are learned from one, there are new things. For that we make a test facility totally upgraded, and that itself is a task by itself. Okay, but that is the part of the development process. Glad that you have such an interesting question. Happy to meet you. Okay, here is a small gift. Thank you. Okay, all the best.
Thank you, sir.
And now for the crucial Tejas update. I'm at ARDC. So we thought it'll be very perfect to get something from here. Tejas Mark 1A, lot of activities are happening here, lot of advanced, I would say, work on that program is happening. But I'm not going to talk about Tejas Mark 1A. Mark 2. A lot of you fellows want to know what's happening. And there are a lot of things going around which I'm not getting into. So the big news coming is lot of advanced work towards the prototyping of Mark 2. The next dream mission for all of us, the fans of India's military programs. Prototyping work of Tejas Mark 2 is happening. And for all you know, by the next Aero India, 2023, you might perhaps just watch the first prototype at the static display of Aero India. Hello, young India, Tejas Mark 2 is coming, lot of work happening. You will get a shape, the real prototype, very soon, very, very soon. And whenever the rollout is happening, I feel perhaps within a year. I'm not giving any deadlines, okay? So I think maybe a little more time, but by next Aero India, we must be able to see. So that's all we have from this wonderful division of HAL ARDC. 6th episode ends here. Do keep writing to us, all letters, mails, everything. Do support us. We need support. And we're not talking about small contributions from individuals who have just started a new career, but people who are capable of supporting us, institutions. Please do support us. Stay safe, stay inspired. Tiranga, Hamesha, pinned to the heart. Love you guys. Thank you. Jai Hind.